Hi guys, Aaron Dorr here with Wyoming gun owners with an update for gun owners in Senate District number 10. This is this area over here in Albany County, down in the bottom corner to the west of Cheyenne. This is the majority of the county, Albany County, down here, SD number 10. And this race features two candidates that we know a lot about, which is really important when it comes to our gun rights. You know, a lot of times at WYGO we say we have too many swamp monster moderates in the Capitol who say one thing and do another, who won't lead the fight for gun rights, who won't champion our right to keep and bear arms. But that's not the case in this race. This race, we know a lot about these candidates, and in the one case, none of it's good. You know, a lot of gun owners remember the name, hopefully remember the name Dan Furphy. State Representative Dan Furphy is one of the two guys angling for this seat in this open August 18 primary. Dan Furphy would have you believe that he's 100% pro-gun. The truth is that Dan Furphy has been an enemy to gun owners every year he's been in Cheyenne. You may recall earlier this year, just a couple, 6 months ago, it was Dan Furphy who was co-sponsoring Senate File 80. This legislation would mandate that you wait 3 days to buy a handgun. So to make this very clear, when Antifa thugs are rioting in our state and around the country, burning businesses, destroying our monuments, shooting at cops, and terrorizing innocent people, Dan Furphy wants to put you in prison if you buy a handgun from a dealer before you wait a government-mandated 3 days. I don't know how many of you guys saw the video out of Missouri just about a month ago, not too long ago, of that couple who held off hundreds of armed, violent thugs with a handgun and an AR-15. Can you imagine living in St. Louis, living in Cheyenne, let's say now, and with the same type of unrest here, and you want to go buy a handgun. But because of Dan Furphy, you have to wait 3 days. These thugs aren't waiting 3 days. Criminals don't wait 3 days. These Antifa rioters, they're not waiting 3 days. But if Dan Furphy had his way, you would be a criminal. You would be facing prison if you bought a handgun having not waited 3 days. I mean, it is literally insanity. But that's what Dan Furphy was pushing in 2020, a waiting period bill, Senate File 80. Don't forget about that. But that wasn't the first time that Dan Furphy screwed over gun owners. In 2017, Wyoming gun owners was very close to ridding our state of these deadly gun-free zones on campuses in the state. UW and all of its satellite facilities across the state, it's off limits to gun owners. And we all know how this works. Madmen, almost literally every single time they launch an attack, launch them in a gun-free zone. Of course they do, right? No one can fight back. We almost got rid of these here in Wyoming. In 2017, we had House Bill 136. The bill came up for a critical vote, and Dan Furphy sided with all of the House Democrats in opposing this legislation. This was House Bill 136. The date was February 1st, 2017. Hell, we even have the time, 11:27 a.m. When we needed him the most, Dan Furphy stabbed us in the back, and that bill died. HB 136 did not, in fact, become law, in large part because Dan Furphy stood up and attacked this bill when we needed him most. So it's no wonder then that Furphy refuses to sign his 2020 WYGO candidate questionnaire. Of course he's not. He's not going to tell us how publicly opposed to our gun rights he is, but he doesn't have to. His record speaks for itself. Opposes campus carry, supports waiting periods, and very likely he also supports red flag gun seizures as well. That's Dan Furphy. Now, challenging Dan Furphy, I should add a great big V here, make this some kind of a cage match, right? There we go. Challenging Dan Furphy is Craig Malmstrom. Craig Malmstrom is born and raised here in Wyoming, was gone for a while, but he told me, I knew when I had kids, I had to get back to raise my family in Wyoming. I've been back here for a long time. And he is going to run in the same seat against Dan Furphy because, as he told me on the phone, he said, we have enough problems with Wyoming becoming more like Colorado every day without our own side, our supposed conservatives, aiding in this cause. And Craig wants to fight hard to maintain common sense, the Second Amendment, and our freedoms in the state. And that's why Craig signed the WIGO candidate survey with 100% pro-gun answers. He opposes red flag gun seizures. He opposes waiting periods. Craig Malmstrom opposes banning the AR-15 or trying to register our firearms to universal background checks. He opposes the waiting period that Dan Furphy is trying to pass, and he's going to be a champion who has promised to sponsor bills to help us rid Wyoming of gun-free zones, to fix our preemption problem, and much, much more. And so Craig Malmstrom is 100% pro-gun. And the beauty of this whole program is you can just take my words and ignore them. You can look it up yourself. We have these survey results on our website. You can print it off. You can keep it. And you can use that to hold Craig accountable down the road if he betrays gun owners. So it's all publicly verifiable. These bill numbers on Dan Furphy, you can look it up yourself. An enemy to gun owners. Hard and fast enemy to our gun rights. Craig Malmstrom, 100% pro-gun. So if you're a voter in this area or you know anybody who is, make sure the word gets out that the voters know where these two candidates stand. It's really important before August 18 that gun owners have the facts. And finally, if you haven't yet joined WIGO, now is the time. This fight is raging and we need your help. Join up today at joinwygo.com. That's joinwygo.com, or our full website, which is simply wyominggunowners.org. Thank you.